Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday morning to you all. Happy Labor Day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully, you have the day off. If not, hope you make the most out of it. I know that would certainly be unfortunate if you don't, but I know not everybody has the luxury to have Labor Day off. But regardless, hope you guys are doing well this morning. Got some weather to talk about. We're going to talk about the tropics. We'll give you an update on this system that is an area of interest right now, could become an area of concern, but as of now, that is not the case. But we're going to give you the latest and greatest information of model guidance from overnight into this morning, and we'll continue to do that, guys, until we know that this isn't going to be a threat, which I feel like we won't know that for a while. So we're going to continue to pump out updates on this invest, could become Lee here in the next few days. So we'll continue to try to figure this one out. Then we're going to give you an update on what's going to happen weather-wise for today. It'll be a little bit more active in certain areas of the country compared to yesterday. We do have a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather in certain areas of the northern plains we need to talk about, a slight risk. So we'll break it all down for you folks in this video. Thank you all for the amazing support. We've kicked off September very strong. Both my videos yesterday did very well. I was very surprised, not even going to lie, but I shouldn't be at this point. You guys always support me, and I really appreciate that. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I've missed some comments from yesterday. I will definitely get all those this morning. And if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. Let's get rolling this morning. Let's take a look at the tropics first. We'll give you the latest and greatest information. In fact, let's go on and update this, see if we got an 8 a.m. update. We do not yet. I don't expect much to change, as we do not have a tropical cyclone right now. I expect us to still maintain at a 90% chance to develop within the next 7 days, which was the same from yesterday evening's video. So nothing has changed. I don't expect this to change really over the next 24 hours. So in the near term, this would probably stay about the same, a 90% chance to develop within the next 7 days. And this is Invest 95L and this long red area. This is what we expect to be at least potentially a powerful hurricane somewhere in the southwest Atlantic, which is in this area sometime in the next maybe week. So I think we'll be talking about this system for a while. Okay, it's called Invest 95L as of now. We have this system too, not an Invest, but has a 30% chance to develop within the next 7 days. We'll watch this. This is a tropical wave that will emerge fully off of the coast of North Africa. Well, the coast of West Africa, technically, over the next day or so. So we got Katia out here. We got Gert. We won't talk about these because they are weakening and will not bother anybody. So let's take a look at what this tropical wave looks like right now. Invest 95L. This is the wave behind it coming off North Africa. This wave does not look worrisome or anything. It doesn't look huge. It doesn't look broad. It's a very compact tropical wave, and it's just beginning to move out of what we call the eastern Atlantic into the central Atlantic, which this entire area is called the tropical Atlantic, the MDR, main development region, whatever you want to call it, the North Atlantic. Pretty compact wave popping off convection inside its main moisture bubble, if you will. But nothing too crazy going on. But we expect this over the next 48, I would say in the next 48 hours, this will look a little bit more organized. And who knows, might be a depression by the time we get into this time Wednesday morning. But nothing too crazy about this wave. It's just chugging along. But this is certainly the area all eyes will be on in the weather world as far as the tropics for the foreseeable future, maybe all the way till mid-month. I think this will be with us for a while. So let's compare some model guidance. At first, we will look at, make sure we got the right model. Yep, we'll look at the European. Keep your eyes on this green blob right here. This is the wave, and we'll continue to keep this going here. Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti, right into there. All right, we'll keep this moving. This will continue to chug across the North Atlantic. We'll get into tomorrow morning. Not a whole lot's changed. It's just a blob of green and some yellow. Okay, still a stout tropical wave. Then we get into Wednesday morning. You notice on this particular model of the Euro, an L pops up, which, don't focus too much on that. Now, when you start to see this L pop up and that millibar number drop, that indicates a strengthening system. But at this point, I think here in the next 48 hours, which would take us to Wednesday morning, September the 6th, I think we have an organizing tropical system. We could have a tropical depression at this point. We'll see. We'll take it to a Thursday morning. All right, at this point, this is starting to tick a little bit further north. It's starting to feel a little bit of a weakness because this is starting to probably strengthen at some point in some sort of way. All right, so the European says, hey, this might be flirting with tropical storm status. At this point, we might have Lee on our hands as we're getting into Thursday morning, September the 7th. We keep this going here. This run of the Euro says, hey, this isn't going to strengthen much between maybe Thursday and the weekend, but we get into Friday morning, and this is flirting around 1,000 millibar low pressure tropical storm. It's actually ticked a little bit further south, kind of some weird movement, and I imagine this is because we're getting some ridging that's building on top of the storm, so it looks like it's sort of about to make that turn northwest, right? And then it kind of bogs down a little bit. I think it's just because we have a ridge of high pressure that is building on top of this storm somewhat. It's not very strong, but it's enough with a weaker system still to sort of bog it down. So we take it all the way to Saturday morning, September the 9th. At this point, we do have that sub at 1,000 millibar low pressure storm, and that's always the threshold, in my opinion, when you definitely have a decent system to really speak on. At this point, it's maybe a strong tropical storm based off this run of the Euro. It's just north and northeast of the Lesser Antilles, the Leeward Islands. And, eyes really at this point begin to focus on this. This will be next weekend, Saturday morning, September the 9th. Okay, we go on and switch it to the Southwest Atlantic panel here, and here it is. All right, you know where we are at this point, Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Virginia. You keep this going. And then this is where it has an opportunity to really get its act together. Could potentially become a powerful hurricane in the Southwest Atlantic. Sunday morning, September the 10th, 6 days from now, 979 millibar low pressure hurricane, Category 1, maybe low in Category 2, Bermuda right here. And then Model Guys really likes this to start to slow down and really bog down here. Does not make much forward progression at all. Monday morning, literally a week from today, September 11th, we have a 959 millibar hurricane. And it's a pretty powerful hurricane just spinning around here in the Southwest Atlantic, not really bothering anybody, no landmass. And then it weakens even more. It strengthens even more, and then maybe weakens a little bit. But, we shouldn't focus too much on day for day, 7 to 8 days out. But regardless, this will be a powerful hurricane in the Southwest Atlantic, 950 millibar hurricane. One would argue that's pushing Category 3 status, which is major status, and it doesn't move much in this area. It tries to figure out what it's going to do, and we take it all the way until 10 days out, which is next Wednesday evening, September the 13th, and it finds that weakness and it begins to abruptly turn north and then northeast. Okay, so that's the latest run of the Euro. It sniffs out that weakness in the pattern, okay, in the upper wind pattern, in the steering currents, and starts to head north and gain that latitude and head out to sea. So that's one run of the Euro. A GFS, the morning GFS, what does it show? All right, here it goes. I will tell you, the thing that's changed the most overnight is how aggressive the GFS is in the short to medium term. Remember I was talking about, if you tuned in last night's video, the GFS really struggled to strengthen this in sort of the short to medium term. Okay, did not really have this as a hurricane until like a week out. Now we get into, tomorrow afternoon, see the L popping off. We have a full-on tropical depression at this point. And then by the time we're waking up Wednesday morning, 2 days from now, 48 hours from now, we have a strong tropical storm right in the middle of the tropical Atlantic, which is in this region right here, okay? So it strengthens this very quickly. And then by Thursday morning, we have an all-out Category 1 hurricane. Okay, we get into Friday morning. We have a powerful hurricane. All right, 963 millibar Category 2 hurricane. All right. And then we take it into Saturday morning, and we have a major hurricane, Category 3, Category 4 hurricane, northeast of the Lesser Antilles, the Leeward Islands. Okay, this is new. Okay, you look at the run from, let's say this was the run last night. Only had a 1,001 millibar low pressure tropical system a few runs ago at this same time frame. Now this morning has a 941 millibar hurricane. If you notice, the stronger it goes, the more north it is. And we talked about that. Remember, a stronger system is going to fight latitude more, which means it's going to try to gain latitude more. You do have this high right up here trying to push down the system, trying to make this system go more so west to east. But if it's a weaker high, this system is going to fight that with everything it's got. So we go on and switch it to the southwest Atlantic panel, and here it is, starting to eyeball the southeast. You begin to get a little bit concerned as it has that classic path that we saw from Hugo, maybe a little bit further north than what we saw with Hugo. But we get into Sunday morning, September the 10th, and we have an all-out, probably Category 4 hurricane creeping into the southwest Atlantic. Not bothering anybody, kind of in the same location as the Euro. Both models agree of kind of between now and the next week where this could be. All right, and then we get into Monday morning. We're getting pretty far out. We're about a week out now. All right, sub 940 millibar hurricane. One would argue that this is pushing mid to high grade Category 4 status. But I would say this is probably a Category 4 hurricane. I think a week from today, we could have a pretty powerful hurricane north of the Caribbean islands and just off, well, I wouldn't say just off, but several hundred miles, about 1,000 miles or so off the coast of the southeast. Okay, we keep this going, and what does it do at this point? Okay, this is getting about 8 days out. We're next Tuesday morning, September the 12th. This looks like it's going to try to take a kind of a path that what Franklin took. Okay, and this is beginning to feel that weakness. It starts to head north. Okay, we get into Wednesday morning, next Wednesday morning, 222 hours out, and we have a pretty strong hurricane kind of squeezing between Bermuda and the Outer Banks of North Carolina. But look at it trying to tick back west. And then if we were to keep this going, we can switch it. Now, I'm showing you this, guys, but honestly, I mean, this is so far out. None of this matters, but I mean, it does feel some sort of tug from some sort of upper pattern, whether it's an upper low, upper trough, whatever it may be. It feels some sort of tug, and it gets pushed back into southern New England. And of course, 12 days from now, you have a landfalling hurricane right into southern New England. Okay, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but it's always a scenario you need to watch out for. Okay. All right, so that's the latest GFS. Now let's take a look at some ensembles. This is the European ensembles, and this takes us all the way to the evening of September 12th. Okay, I want you to realize it's the morning of September 4th right now. This takes us all the way to September 12th, which is 8 days out. All right, 8 days from now, we are still talking about this. In fact, this is just getting going as far as kind of I would say the middle ground as far as what route this is going to take. So 8 days from now, we most likely will have a powerful hurricane somewhere in the southwest Atlantic, south of Bermuda, north of the Caribbean islands. All right, there's a lot of pinks, a lot of reds in here, which symbolizes some pretty powerful runs in this ensemble, which makes up 51 runs. All right, that doesn't mean we're going to have 51 hurricanes. It just is an ensemble run, so it puts together all these little members into one run. So we stop it here. All right, this is next, the evening of September 12th. We zoom into this. All right, now look at some of these members beginning to turn. Bermuda right here, Puerto Rico here. Some of these members are continuing to kind of move more so just northwest, but a lot of these members are making that abrupt turn north and then even northeast. So it's something we certainly watch for, guys. We keep this going, guys, and we look at if you hear my kids in the background, they're literally on the other side of the door and just being kids. GFS ensemble, all right, we take it to, make sure we got this right, 150 hours out, and this has not finished running. Oh, we can take it a little bit further out now. This is still running. That's why I'm a little bit behind, but you go, what is this? This is the afternoon of September the 12th, right? And most of the members do turn this into a powerful tropical system, but almost every single one of these runs, especially the stronger runs, have this turning north and going out to sea. Now, we don't know what it's going to do once it would get in this area right here, but some of these weaker runs, these weaker storms, kind of hang back a little bit more. So I kind of talked about that over the last couple videos, that a weaker system sounds better, but it wouldn't be good for the longer future of this, because a weaker storm gets influenced more by the lower currents. A stronger storm gets influenced more by the upper wind pattern, because it's a taller storm and it feels the influence of those winds further aloft meaning further up in the atmosphere. So as far as what's steering this, I spent a lot of time on this last night. Won't spend as much time on it in this video. It's pretty cut and dry here, guys. What's going to be right here? What's going to be going on in the pattern? Do we have some kind of trough? Do we have ridging? What's going to be going on with the pattern once this, which is likely to be lee, okay, begins to get right into this area? We're going to have some sort of trough setting up. Are we going to have a ridge? Most model guidance points to some sort of trough, which is going to push this out. But what's going to be going on right here? That's the big question mark. Okay. All right. We're going to get this back in motion. And on the latest EPS, the European Ensemble, here it is. This little yellow little splotch right here. As you notice, there is ridging bogging this system down. You see this orange color? That is ridging pushing on this somewhat. It's somewhat weak, but it's there. All right, but then it begins to weaken as it feels this trough. This likely will weaken the ridge, push it on out. And you see all this white. There's a wide open avenue for this to pretty much go out to sea. Okay, and here it is. And sure enough, that's exactly what happens. Okay, so this blue you see here, that's troughing. Think of this as an upper trough with an associated cold front. We know that tropical systems are not going to plow right into cold fronts. That's just basically a brick wall that pushes tropical systems. All right, there's a lot more that goes into that. Sometimes you got these little cutoff lows that can yank on systems. So, basically you got competing currents around a trough and then a ridge. So they sometimes they work together, sometimes they work against each other. But it is very fascinating when you really kind of understand what pulls and what yanks on these tropical systems. It really is. It really helps you understand things a lot more. Now you look at the GEFS ensemble, which is the GFS ensemble run. Here it is. All right, here's future lee. Lee's coming, and we do already have a trough right over the eastern U.S. about a week out. It's weak, but it's there. And the latest run finds a weakness. There's not much troughing over the eastern U.S., but there's enough. It's enough for a very powerful tropical system to easily turn north and not bother anybody. Now, something you watch here is you see this blue right here. This could act as something to tug this back in. Okay? It could, but it's hard to talk in much detail on that until we get closer. So, I know you're thinking, well, how those blue little splotches tug it back in. Well, trust me, when we get a little bit closer, we'll talk more on these mid-level steering currents, these upper-level steering currents, etc., because they can get very confusing, and it's took me years to figure it out. But as far as strengthening with the system, all models indicate that the environmental background, the upper wind pattern, is going to support strengthening. It's all because of what we call an anticyclonic flow, a ULAC. All right, weather terminology, upper level anticyclone is what that stands for. And that's exactly what this system will enter, a very favorable background wind pattern wise for strengthening. Okay, so basically we know that tropical systems spin in this direction in the northern hemisphere. Okay, but you got a flow. You look at these little streamlines, these little arrows that's going like this. That's a terrible arrow, but it is an arrow. They're going like this. So basically you got a different wind flow aloft, all right, in the upper levels of the atmosphere, 200 millibars. That's 40,000 feet up in the air above this system, going in the opposite direction. So what this does is it helps fan out air away from the center of circulation. That allows more air to rise through the middle of the storm, and then it pushes that air away, and then more air rises and takes its place, and it pushes that air away. So what does rising air do? Rising air is a big contributor to storm development. It's the same thing, on land, not just with tropical systems. We know sinking air is a big stabilizer. You're not going to get really any systems. And if you do, they'll pop up and then they'll fall apart because there's no flow aloft. There's plenty of flow aloft when you have these sort of setups. Anticyclonic flow helps ventilate these systems, and it's basically helping them to breathe. And so this system will enter this sort of favorable background once we get into about late week into this weekend, where we really think this is really going to become a hurricane, maybe sometime this weekend. So that's what's really strengthening it. So I hope that helps. And we'll do this all again this evening, most likely. All right, let's talk about what's going on today weather-wise. We have this upper low that looks huge, but it's relatively weak. But it's sort of lost in the current out here, but it's spinning around. Looks pretty impressive on water vapor loop. We got this strong shortwave trough digging down off the base of this trough here, and this will spark numerous showers and storms today in the Dakotas and northern plains. And still dealing with a little stripe of dry air in the Carolinas. We woke up to about 63 degrees, still hanging on to that early fall feel out there. Me and my little girls, we put up all the fall stuff late last night. We all stayed up pretty late and turned the portions of the house into fall. Going to do some outside stuff today. Excited about it. But had a lot of help from my little girls, and I got a fall candle lit over here to my right. It smells like pumpkin pancakes in here, so definitely got the vibes going this morning. I know it's going to be hot this week, unfortunately. It's going to be hot today. So we look at what's falling out there. A lot of rain in the northern Rockies, the Dakotas. There's some rain out there, waking up to some showers. Definitely a rainy morning out there in Montana. Big area of rain moving out of northern Utah, Idaho, into western areas of Wyoming. Got some showers this morning in the mid-Atlantic, southern, northeast regions, and some tropical downpours down here near the bayou and in the southern Gulf coastline. Some showers this morning in Key West also. Storm Prediction Center. We do have a slight risk. Haven't talked about this in a while. Marginal risk right here in Arkansas. I think we'll get we'll get a lot of shower and storm activity in Arkansas today, and even southern Missouri. But I do think some of these could produce some damaging winds up here in the northern plains. We'll talk about this yellow. That's a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather. Winds, 15% risk of damaging winds within 25 miles in a given location, and hail threat not very large for either one. Excessive rainfall outlook. We do have that slight risk of excessive rainfall, which means we have a 15% risk of flash flood guidance being exceeded in this yellow area. So we do need to watch out for some flooding. Watches and warnings, it's pretty quiet. We got some heat advisories deep in South Texas, heat advisories in New England. I'll get a kind of a zoomed in look at how hot it could potentially get in New England today. And then we got some heat advisories in areas of the upper Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, one county in Iowa. So going to be hot, unfortunately. Unless you like heat, it's not unfortunate then. But the Southeast, we'll talk about Louisiana and Arkansas here in a second, but I will mention could get some tropical downpours in central Florida, not a big deal. Some shower and storm activity it's quite likely in southern sections of Mississippi. I think along the Mississippi coastline, you'll certainly see a lot of, at least a decent chance of some storms. And then these storms could hug the Louisiana-Texas border right into here, but I think you'll get some very, very, very scattered shower and storm activity in Arkansas today. But, if you live in Georgia, even Alabama, the Carolinas, most of Tennessee, Virginia, pretty quiet day. It's going to be warming up. And then overnight tonight, we could be greeted to some showers and storm activity here in western Mississippi, northern Alabama, and northern Mississippi. The Northeast today, a quiet weather day. Might not get a drop of rain anywhere in the Northeast over the next 24 hours. In fact, I just rolled through the next 24 hours and nothing. One thing you are dealing with today is warmer temperatures. Areas in the southern tier, the Finger Lakes region of New York State could get into the low 90s. Somebody might hit 100 degrees in the mid-Atlantic today. Washington, D.C., you got a little pocket of much warmer air. Mid to upper 90s. Maybe someone hits 100 today. New York City gets into the low 90s most likely. Most of New Jersey. And pretty warm into southern New England. Upper 80s, maybe a 90-degree reading. So enjoy this late summer warmth as you guys have not had much of a summer. Sorry, I had a little phlegm in my throat there. Haven't dealt with that much over the last couple months. Thank goodness. But if you're out on Cape Cod, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, you guys, will be saved probably by a breeze. It won't be as hot, just some 70s. But I hear from a lot of people up here that September is really just a wonderful month of weather up here in the Northeast, kind of probably the middle ground between summer coming to an end and then fall moving in, but not quite. You don't obviously have those cold temperatures. Here October is a good month too, but anyways, moving forward here, the South Central U.S., a little bit more active today. You guys get a decent chance of rain. Southeast Oklahoma, eastern areas of Texas, Arkansas, certainly widespread showers and storms will move in and then diminish with the loss of daytime heating. We'll go on and zoom in a little bit closer to Arkansas. I mean, here it is. We'll stop at around 2 p.m. You got some big storms firing. Some of these will hit severe limits right around the Little Rock area and just kind of move kind of south to north, or I would say, southwest to northeast, and kind of just cruise right through the state. They could dump a lot of rain, and you stop it here, it's around 6 p.m. So if you got any Labor Day activities in this region, in Arkansas, northern Louisiana, southern Missouri, guys, it definitely is going to be a stormy day for you folks. So definitely keep your eye on a radar and on any alerts. But these storms will fly through Arkansas, and then I think that by the time we get into later this evening, we could have some storms around the Mississippi Delta region, Mississippi River here still firing, and then we could get some more shower and storm development as we're getting into tomorrow morning, but nothing too severe at that point. The North Central U.S., most of the Great Lakes region, the upper Midwest, pretty quiet, a little bit of shower activity this morning, but all eyes will be on the Dakotas as basically a vigorous piece of energy flies through the northern plains, and we'll show you guys this right here. And here it comes. I mean, I think I wouldn't be surprised we get an enhanced risk in this area today. This looks like a pretty potent line of storms that really gets going here, I would say, in northeast areas of Wyoming, southeast areas of Montana. And then I really think they begin to pack a punch once you get into the western Dakotas. I think you could get some hail, damaging winds is possible. You cannot rule out a tornado, even though it's below 2% today. But definitely be careful if you're in the western Dakotas. These storms could produce some damaging winds and they'll fly through. You will see these coming for sure. Well, we get to about 10 p.m. and it's still storming like crazy here in central North Dakota. And then we could have another round behind it later tomorrow morning. The wee hours of the morning tomorrow morning that kind of makes its way and swirls its way through. And I think we can just get a lot of rain in this region over the next 24 hours. And in fact, 1.5, maybe 2 inches of rain in this little area right here of the western Dakotas, northwest South Dakota, southeast Montana, northern and northeast Wyoming. Definitely some appreciable rainfall today. So western U.S., that same rain, I think you'll be dealing with rain in western areas of Montana, areas of northern Idaho today. Western Wyoming, I definitely think you'll just deal with on and off downpours all throughout the day. Certainly just a rainy, kind of damp day in Montana for most of the state, unless you live maybe in northeast sections of the state, might not get as much rain. But as we head into the overnight hours into tomorrow morning, things really quiet down. Nothing really going on in the Four Corners region today. Things are much quieter. No real rain chances for you folks. It's definitely beginning to warm back up in the eastern U.S. after several days of fall-like weather. It was really nice. You got the upper 80s, lower 90s, even some mid-90s returning. Mid-Atlantic will be a hot spot in the eastern U.S. by far. Warming up in the northeast, we already talked about that. And definitely getting hot in the Great Lakes region, even into the UP of Michigan, especially the western UP of Michigan, much hotter than I would say the eastern UP, which could get an area, low to mid 90s in northern Michigan. Could be a hot spot. Could be warmer in this area compared to lower Michigan, but definitely warm in the middle and the heart of the country. Areas will get into the upper 90s, low 100s, and then we make it out west. And this just continues to blow my mind here. The high plains, pretty warm, not as warm as yesterday. But decently warm. But as soon as you get into this cloud cover and rain, just cool temperatures, 50s and 60s for highs. And even the Pacific Northwest, it is much cooler than average, even compared to yesterday. Just stick to your local forecast for these areas with these microclimates. But even coolish, not that warm compared to what you guys could see this time of the year. in the valleys of California. Definitely not too hot in the desert Southwest. Just nice conditions. That's all I got, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. I should have a video this evening, but you guys have an awesome Labor Day. Relax, get some things done. Whatever you plan on doing, I hope it's a great day doing it. God bless all y'all. Talk to you later.